Howdy there, my chimp chams. Welcome back to One Great Manga, where hopefully you are having a fantastic day today. And today, we're going over my top 5 favorite shonen arcs. And without further ado, let's get started. Like my other top 5s, this one is going to be one arc per franchise, and it has to be an arc. So some series like Kaguya-sama, which I absolutely adore, aren't going to be on this list, so let's get into it. At number 5, I have the King Piccolo saga from Dragon Ball Z. And, okay, this is when Dragon Ball, in my opinion, becomes near perfect for what it's trying to do. The King Piccolo saga is everything I think, if you're looking at shonen, is the biggest thing that you can look at. It's like, hey, how should I make shonen? You should point them at the King Piccolo saga. The King Piccolo saga starts off immediately after the 23rd Budokai Tenkaichi tournament. It starts with Krillin freaking dying at the hands of one of King Piccolo's men, and this is the first time we've ever seen a Dragon Ball character die, which is weird now because they seem like they drop like flies now, but this was the first time. And because of it, they take a really good amount of time to let it soak in. You're like, holy crap, Krillin's dead. And we always know that he's going to come back. Like, oh yeah, he's coming back. And they say in the show he's coming back. But as the show goes on, we're like, oh crap, we're not going to see him for 6 months. Because King Piccolo makes his wish to become eternal. I mean, not eternal, but like eternal youth. And we're like, crap, we're not going to see Krillin for 6 months. We're like, dude, that's awful. I'm like, man, that's awful for Goku. And if it couldn't get worse for Goku, freaking Roshi dies while trying to seal Piccolo away. So he dies too, and he can't be revived until the 6 months are over. And it's just like, man, it's gonna be a while before we see some of our favorite characters again. And for a series like Dragon Ball, which is usually like, oh yeah, they're coming back because they have a way to revive people, I think that's one of the strongest things they can do, and it's really, really shocking how they do it. And then Goku gets really freaking serious about King Piccolo and beats the ever-loving crap out of every one of his minions, and then goes after Piccolo, and then bashes his fist through his chest in one of the most epicest moments in Dragon Ball. And man, oh man, do I love the King Piccolo saga, and that's why is it my number 5. Number 4, we have Arumi's second arc in GTO. Now, Arumi from GTO is probably one of the most realistic characters in GTO, because usually in GTO, characters that he helps usually only have one arc, and that's it. They have one arc, and then they become perfect children. Not perfect children, but like, oh yeah, their problems are solved. That's pretty much how it is. Except for Arumi. It starts with Arumi having a very bad personal life, and she's like, her parents won't pay attention to her, stuff like that. So Onizuka comes over because he's got to use the bathroom. So he's like banging on the door, let me in, let me in, let me in. So he goes use the bathroom, and when he comes out, Arumi's just like, he's like, he doesn't care. He's like, he doesn't care about what others think. He cares about others. You know, she was coming up with all this type of stuff. She's like, I'm just gonna run away with Onizuka, and leaves her family. They just kind of go on a little bit of a trip together, and it's a really fun little trip they do. They get a cell phone, and for the first time in a very long time for Arumi, you really see her smile once in her life. But she eventually catches feelings for Onizuka, and one of my absolute favorite scenes in the whole series starts when they're on the Ferris wheel, and Arumi's asking for Onizuka to elope her, and she goes in for the kiss, and Onizuka's like, I can't do this. I freaking cannot do this. This hormone-filled 22-year-old has up to this point just done some very bad acts of while he was under the influence, pretty much, of his hormones. And this is the first time we really get to see him actually take control of his more negative aspects of himself and keep himself in control. And for me, that's one of the biggest character moments for Onizuka, is when he has to bash his head in to the Ferris wheel and to knock himself out to make sure he does not do what he should not be doing. And it's a really powerful scene in my opinion, and I love it so freaking much. Then, as if it couldn't get any better, they come back. She comes back to the school after that night out. The mean girl, Hanzaki, puts up that Arumi was made in a tube, one of her deepest, darkest secrets, and she flips the gasket again. She goes right back to how she was when we first met her. She turns on the fire alarms, trips them, and then all the water goes through, and she's going to commit suicide by going up and freezing to death. And me, that was really not powerful, but it was really shocking to see her just revert back to that state, and it was a really awful thing to see. And then everybody has to go and get her before she, freezes to death. They find her, she's barely alive, and she has to get into a warm place, which is with a sleeping bag with Onizuka. Just watching that whole character arc and her going through those struggles and reverting back to her old habits is something that we don't get to see a lot of in GTO, and I think for that one character and watching it all go down was really amazing to see. And that's why the Arumi's second arc in GTO is my number 4 spot. And then number 3, we have the Soul Society arc from Bleach, and man, oh man, I love me some Bleach. Bleach is so freaking good, and the Soul Society is one of the main reasons why. Okay, so Soul Society, like the King Piccolo saga, is a textbook example of how you do a shonen story right and properly. Honestly, Bleach in general is what I would like to call a textbook example of how to do shonen properly. But the Soul Society is one of the best arcs in the whole series, and for a good reason. So Rukia has been taken away by the Soul Society because of her transferring of her Soul Reaper powers to Ichigo. That is an act of treason, so she must die. Pretty much. So Ichigo cannot allow his friend to die like this, so he and his band of misfits go up to Soul Society and must take it down in order to save Rukia. And it is such a freaking amazing arc. You watch all the characters get their own little spotlight, and all the fights are so freaking good. I really like the mad scientist and his fight. I also really like his character, how he's has this girl that's like his lab subject, which is really awful. And then we have Kenpachi fight. Oh my freaking goodness, Kenpachi fight so freaking good. And the fight with Byakuya, like, bro, holy crap! Bleach is such a fantastic example of growth through fights. Like, each fight that we go through has some type of character development with one of the characters they're fighting. And that is so freaking cool. Some series like Dragon Ball, we get it's just fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. And it's not mind-numbing, but it's just a fight to have a fight for the most part. Where nothing really, the characters don't come out a different person after the fight. But with the Soul Society, each fight, they learn something from it and are able to make character development. And it's so freaking good because of that. And that's something that Bleach does really well, is character development through fights. And the Soul Society is one of the biggest examples of that, and that's why Soul Society is number 3 for me. The next one is number 2, is Kyle's race in Initial D. This race, it has been a culmination of a lot of things. Kyle is, up to this point in the series, is Takumi's biggest obstacle he's ever faced. And he is not going up against him. He's like, no, I'm not going to fight him. There's no point. There's no point to race him. And the main love interest at this point, we get to know really well. We've known for a long time that she has a sugar daddy, and she is getting paid that way. So he's been hearing these rumors about her having a sugar daddy and going out at night and stuff like that. And he's like, no, that's not happening. That's not really happening. He grabs a soda from a soda machine, takes a drink out of it, and looks, and there she is in the car with her sugar daddy. And he flips out. He's like, his whole worldview of what he believed her to be just kind of crumbles. He's like, I thought, she was different. She wasn't like that. And he gets royally mad, really freaking mad, and decides, you know what, frick it, we're gonna have the race with Kyle. And then he has the race with Kyle. Super, super intense. His car's engine, the AE86. The AE86's engine freaking craps out on him. And that's just an awful, awful thing to watch, because, oh man, it was so freaking tense, because he was very, very emotional at this point, because he was mad from the finding out about that. And he was just doing pretty decently, and he just got freaking crapped out on because of his engine. And then he just like, holy crap, I've screwed up my dad's car. It's broken. I've broken my dad's car. The car that he's bestowed upon me to deliver tofu, and he's like, I've broken it. He's like, crap. He's like, I can't believe I've done it. And he goes to his dad, and he's like, Dad, I've broken the car, and I feel awful for it. I'll never be able to repay you. I will work for you for every day of my life. And he was like, I feel awful for this. And when he meets back up with the love interest, this is when he meets up with the love interest again, she's like, what's the matter? Are you okay? And he's like, so emotionally traumatized. Not from her being, having a sugar daddy, but from him breaking the car. He's like, leave me alone. You should go talk to your sugar daddy or whatever. And she just, like Takubi, she just breaks. She breaks. She's like, how did he find out? How did he find out about that? And this can't be happening. Emotions are up to the roof because they're teenagers. And they're like, oh man, this can't be happening. And it's just so freaking crazy. Because you're like, holy crap, this happens, and then this happens, and then it keeps going up higher. Like, so it goes here, and then it rises a bit, and then it rises up, and then it keeps rising, and then it drops you back down, and I'm like, whoa! It's like a roller coaster of emotions, and I'm just like sitting here, I'm like, whoa, this is freaking crazy. And it doesn't let you go for so long. It is such a fantastic arc for a manga that mainly deals with street racing. To have characters and have them have emotions like that, and for me to care about it in only 10 volumes is something that is such a freaking amazing thing. And I love this arc so much, but not as much as this next one. And I have the only arc that ever made me cry. One Piece's Water 7. And man, is this such a beautiful, beautiful arc. It starts with the whole group coming right out of Skypiea, and they're falling from the ground, crash their boats. So it's like severely damaged, so they're needing to fight a carpenter. So they go to the next town, Water 7, and they're like, hey, we need our boat to be repaired. And they're like, no, that's not gonna happen because this boat should be broken and you shouldn't have been able to make it here. You're gonna have to destroy it. You're gonna have to get a new one. And Usopp's just kind of shocked by this. He's shocked by this because the boat was given to him by one of his best friends, and that it was like one of their last things that they got to see each other before they left was the boat. So he's like, no, I don't want to get rid of it. I'll fix it up myself. I've been able to fix it before and all that jazz. And Luffy's like, no, we can't do this. And he's like, well, if you're not gonna fix the boat, then I'm going to leave the crew. And he's like, okay, do it. And they have this big fight, very emotional, and Usopp is fighting Luffy and is actually not running away, not being a coward, and actually standing up for himself. And it was super, super amazing to see that type of character development out of Usopp. And Luffy has to make the hard choice to kick him from the group. For the rest of the arc, Usopp is not in it and is replaced by Soga King. And Soga King is Usopp's alter ego that nobody knows that it's actually Usopp. Nobody does. Totally not. But they basically have to go and get a new boat. But while this is happening, they go around town and they grab some more supplies. And then for some reason, Robin just disappears with these random people. And Sanji's like, hey man, where are you going? And then she doesn't respond. And he's like, I said where you're going. And she doesn't respond again. And then she just kind of disappears. Now we must save Robin like we did with Nami, where something in her past is keeping her from staying with the group. And this, to me, feels like the Arlong Park saga, but like cranked up to 11. They break into the world government, who we thought were good people, it's only to realize that they'd be the main villains of the arc. They have to break into the world government and challenge a freaking government to save their best friend, which is so amazingly powerful and amazing. They have to fight the bad guys. Luffy eventually gets geared to, and it has some very tear-jerking moments, some very emotional moments, and some great character development. So while we're dealing with Usopp's growth, we're also dealing with Nico Robin's growth, and then we're also dealing with the fact that the boat's broken. all in the same arc, mind you. It is freaking crazy how much stuff is happening in this arc. This arc really surprises me because we get a lot of Nico Robin's really sad backstory of her village being burned down because of the knowledge that they knew, and her having to grow up in that type of lifestyle, having to run away, and the powerful moments that made me cry. You know, the whole "I want to live" part of the series. I mean, everyone knows it. If you have not got to that point, keep reading One Piece. It gets so freaking good there. And then we also have the part where no one's ever born alone. And then we also have the boat being burnt, which is so freaking crazy that Goda was able to make us feel for so much feelings for a freaking boat. And it's crazy. And it was a really nice send-off for that boat. And that, guys, is my top 5 favorite shonen arcs. So, what are your favorite shonen arcs? I know there's a lot of them. I would love to hear them. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. Have a beautiful day, my beautiful, beautiful Chim Chams. And go out there and read some manga, my friends.